Interested in buying a new knife or EDC gear? Click the first link in the description down below. Thanks! What is going on YouTube? But Great Blades here, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Winterbladeco M-Fire. Let's start with a overall measurement here. So overall length on the M-Fire, looking at about 7 inches, 7.1 inches there, with a, call that 2.8, call it 2.8 inch blade with a 2.6 inch blade. So a little bit on the smaller side in terms of actual blade length. Still would consider it a full-size knife. This is probably not going to stand. Do a measurement on the blade stock thickness here. So blade stock thickness 70 thousandths. Is that correct? Hold on, please. Do all the way behind the blade here. Yeah, about 60 or 70 thousandths. That is insane. Really? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that is very, very slicey then. Much more than I thought it was. Oops, sorry, bumping you. Do a measurement on the weight here. 4.05 ounces, so a little bit on the heavier side for the size of knife that it is, but I'm not super upset about it. Do a comparison with the QSP Penguin and the Demco 80-20.5 with original goat scales on it. Link them down below. So looking at a size comparison with all of these knives here, get it just right. So we are at an angle, but it is actually, hold on, is that correct? Yeah, so it is actually smaller than both knives here, a little bit more so compared to the 20.5, but just a very, very small amount, I think, compared to the QSP Penguin. So, you know, smaller-ish in size, I would say, but not necessarily, you know, tiny or anything like that. Compare the thickness of the blades and carry profile here. So thickness, we are looking at just a little bit thinner than the 20.5. And then it is going to be just a little bit thicker than the QSP Penguin. And then in terms of actual like carry profile, so like the height of the total knife here compared to the QSP Penguin, it is going to be a little bit, let's do it this way, it's going to be a little bit bigger just because of the shape of the actual blade there, but it's still not horrendous. And then it should be smaller than the 20.5. Actually, maybe just about the same, actually. Said actually twice there, but it's about the same. So it's not going to be a horrifically hard object to carry in your pocket, but it may be bigger than some of your other knives. But, so what is this exactly? So for those of you who don't know, this is made by Brian Winters. I'll link his Instagram down below. If you don't follow him on Instagram already, you definitely should. He is a sorcerer when it comes to knives. But I'm sure a lot of you have probably heard of him by now. You know, he had the models like the Factor was his first one, of which he's done 4 iterations of now. The Severn, the M-Fire here, the Veyron, the Factor 8, which was a bigger version of the Factor. I think I'm missing one in there, but I can't recall. But he's done a couple of different knives here. And what is special about his knives? Well, they all use magnets. Magnets. How do they work? No one knows. But he uses magnets for his knives. So what I mean by that is, instead of having like a traditional, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see that, instead of having like a traditional like detent and like stop pin and things like that, this uses a very strong, excuse me, neodymium magnet. Excuse me. So on the front here, there's this switch, which is how you disengage the knife here. And on the inside, I don't know if you can be able to see it, right about there, if you see, so right now it's locked up. Am I able to get any better there? I don't think so. Right about there, of course, is the magnet that's holding this in place right now. And then you see, as I move the switch here, it'll move the magnet down, which allows the blade to drop. And then in the closed position, the magnet's, you know, still right about here or so. Sorry, right about here. So that is what holds it in tension as well, so it won't fall out. And it works very, very well. And the action is, you know, crispy for sure. If you've never handled any of his knives, you aren't really going to understand exactly how, I don't know, it's just, it's very strong, but it's a very clean breakaway, and it is adjustable. I believe most of his models are, in that you can change the size of the magnet in here. So if you want it to be, you know, a little stronger or a little weaker, you can adjust that with the different sized or strength magnets. I know at least on the Factor, it came with 3 different size magnets. The one already installed was kind of like a medium strength, and then there's a smaller and a stronger one. I'm not sure if there was for this one as well, since this is not my knife, I'm borrowing it from a friend, but I imagine it probably did come with a different magnet. So you got, I believe he calls it an eye lock, I think is what he calls this lock system. Something he came up with. I'm not really 100% sure, you know, the exact specifications of how it works, but kind of what I understand is, I mean, like I was saying, there's a magnet here that's just holding the blade in place, and there's a switch on here which is glued to the magnet or attached to the magnet somehow, and that is what allows you to disengage the lock here. The blade steel here is Vanax, which is nice. I guess you would call this sort of like a sheep's foot, modified sheep's foot blade here, you know, Tuesday, high five, surprise, whatever. But it's very, very nice. I do like it. I mean, I always think that Brian's blades are pretty utilitarian in terms of just their design. They're always very comfortable as well. I never have any issues with any of Brian's stuff. You know, he definitely knows what he's doing. There is no jimping on the top spine of the blade, which honestly, I think it's fine. It doesn't really matter. There is also not, that's not proper English or grammar. There also isn't a finger shuttle here, but because of the sort of notch in the blade here, the way the cutout is on the frame, you can get your finger up here. Why am I going so crazy on lighting? You can get your finger up here, and you're not gonna slide up the blade really. So I mean, you definitely could. It's not the most comfortable, I'm not gonna lie to you, but you could if you really wanted to. I think that's fine. I believe this is a flat grind. I want to say a full flat grind. Most of his other knives have been full flat grinds, so unless he decided to change something on this one, as far as I know, this is a full flat grind. I'll have to double check and see if maybe I can find that out, but I'm inclined to believe it's probably a full flat grind here on the blade, which is fine. I mean, like you saw earlier, is very, very thin. blade stock. So behind the edge here, you know, it's definitely going to come down to a very, very thin point. So it is definitely sharp and slicey. So your deployment methods are kind of what's cool here. So you do have the notch here, so you can reverse flick it, or if you want to forward flick it, oops, that was bad. If you want to forward flick it, you can, but something else kind of neat. If you pull down on the switch here, when the blade is closed, it flings open. So that would make this a dual action, as you can use it manually or with the magnet here, but it also makes it an auto, a side opening automatic. At least in some ways. I think maybe depending where you are in your state's laws or your country's laws, there may be some wiggle room for interpretation, because technically this is just a magnet. I'm not sure. I'm not a lawmaker. You know, follow your own state's laws and country's laws. But I would probably classify this as a dual action manual and automatic magnetic detent pocket knife, which I just think is cool, because I mean, as far as I know, I've never heard of a magnetic dual action pocket knife. I mean, if someone else knows, you know, definitely let me know. I'd be very intrigued to know if someone else has done this before or something similar. But I think that's pretty sweet, personally. Yeah, titanium, milled titanium on the front here, carbon fiber scale on the back, titanium clip. I think steel hardware. But yeah, this thing is just very sweet, honestly. I'm kind of upset that I missed out on this one. And you'll notice that I'm kind of closing it manually here with my finger. You can, so because of the magnet, if you just let it drop, it's going to bounce. There's tension here, almost kind of like in reverse for an assisted knife. You feel tension here because the magnet is repelling it, because it's not completely on the right side of the magnet here. So it does bounce, but I'll try and show that. If you see here, the magnet's repelling it. But if you get the timing just right, and I was practicing this, so we'll see if I can get it on the first try. Now that I've said something, and you know, all you guys are watching me, I'm sure my performance anxiety will kick in and I won't do it. But if you get the timing just right, you can get it to close by just kind of whipping it shut while you hold the button. So let's see. Let's see if I can get this here. Okay, second try. Not bad. So it does take some getting used to, and I've still not fully mastered it, to be honest. But if you get it just right... Oh, I almost had it there. You can get it to close by using the lock as well. Is it a big deal that, you know, you can't every time, maybe, unless, you know, you get really good at it? Not really. I mean, it's fine enough to close with one hand, you know, even still. But you are able to do that. The clip, I should mention, is also reversible carry. It is tip up only, but it is right or left hand mountable. So Brian is thinking of you lefties, all 10% of you. But what I also think is cool, I believe, I haven't tried it because, again, this isn't mine, but I believe you actually can uninstall the magnet here, and then it becomes just a fully manual knife, kind of similar to your typical, you know, sliding bar style lock, you know, axis lock, clutch lock, whatever, ambi lock, all the different names for it. But it essentially becomes just a manual version of that. So if for some reason it is classified as a switchblade or an automatic in your state or country, you could, I think in theory, uninstall the magnet and then it's just a manual blade. And it's still a very nice one at that. Now I haven't tried it, and I'm not sure exactly how that works or how that might affect the action or anything like that, or lockup, but I believe you could change the magnet or, you know, uninstall it completely. Maybe if you did one of the lighter magnets, it would more just function as the lock and less as an automatic when you pull the switch here. I'm not sure on that, but if that's true, that's pretty cool. What else did I not mention here? Oh, so this is made in China. And I know he's gone through a couple different OEMs, I want to say. I think he used Bestech at one point. Previously, like for his first run or two, maybe for the Factor. The first batch or two, maybe, for the Factor. But this one in particular, the M-Fire, was OEM'd by Kunwu. So I think, you know, the Vanax is definitely going to be heat treated correctly to an optimal range. And I mean, if you've had any other Kunwu knives, you're going to know that their quality is very, very good. So no worries there. But it is made in China, so again, if that's something that bothers you, something to note, I suppose. Price on this. So I think it kind of depended a little bit because there were a few different versions, I want to say, of this when it dropped originally. You can't buy it anymore, unfortunately, at least directly from Brian. Winterblade, you can't buy it on his website. You might find them here and there on the secondary, but because they were such a smaller batch of production knives, and he's only done the one so far, a lot of times you're going to be paying more than you would probably like to. So originally, from Brian, these were about $370, give or take, which I think is more than fair for titanium, carbon fiber, Vanax, and all the other little intricacies of the knife here. I think that's fine. But I think I saw one for like $600 one time on the secondary, brand new in box, you know, allegedly, I don't know, but brand new in box for like $600. So you are gonna pay, you know, pretty close to double on the secondary unless you just get a really good deal or you know someone personally. You're probably gonna overpay by quite a bit unless you really luck out. So at that point, I would say, I mean, unless you really, really want it and you got disposable income like that, I would probably just hold off and see if he'll do another batch of them. He's always very friendly on Instagram. He's usually more than willing to answer any questions. I've talked to him numerous times. Very cool guy, very funny. Yeah. So, I mean, shoot him a message if you want, or, you know, if I have time before this video actually goes out, I'll see if I can get a response from him on that. But yeah, I don't know that I have too much more to say about this. I mean, it kind of scratches all the itches for me. It, you know, ticks all the boxes. Fidgety, you know, for one, slicey, comfortable. Cool factor. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it, guys. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe because I'll be posting more videos, and let me know in the comments down below, did you grab an M-Fire? Do you have any other knives from Winterbladeco? What do you think about them? If this is your first time learning about them, definitely check him out. Like I said, I'll link his Instagram down below, and yeah, I will see you guys next time. Take care. Bye.